Chapter 20. Strange Alliances. The most unnerving thing for Daniel's gang so far had been all the patrol cars. It was strange to see the police driving along slowly, searching the shadows with their high-powered floodlights. Worse still was the knowledge that the police were searching those shadows for them. They spotted the first car as they were leaving Rowan's house. As Rowan scurried down the tree that served as his bedroom escape ladder, they watched the car disappear slowly in the distance. By the time they saw the next one, Daniel's parents would have noticed that he was missing, and Rowan's disappearance might have been noticed as well. When they saw the third car, there was probably an all-points bulletin warning that half the children of Nobles Green were gone. With Louisa and Rose now in tow, Daniel couldn't help but feel like the Pied Piper in the fairy tale, leading the village children off into the hills, never to be seen again. As it was, they certainly didn't look like a fairy tale. 5 children on bikes, skulking along the edge of the woods. Rose wanted to stop and pee every 10 minutes, and of course, she was scared of the dark. Daniel would have liked to leave her out of this, but she shared a bedroom with Louisa and had threatened to tell their parents if she wasn't allowed to go along. So Louisa rode with Rose on her bike and encouraged her to hold her bladder. Along the way, they explained everything to Louisa, who listened attentively, but said little. Daniel knew that she would probably figured out much of it on her own anyway, but he didn't miss her shocked look when they got to the part about Eric's capture. Again, he felt his face burn with shame. But in the end, she made no judgments. She offered no reprimands. She was as good as her word. They were her friends, and she was going to stick with them. It was left to Daniel to lead the way, which was ironic, as they were headed to the last place he thought he'd ever be trying to find. It didn't take long for Daniel to locate the torn hole in the chain-link fence. He lifted the loose flap of fence so the others could squeeze through. "Shouldn't we be worried about night watchmen or guard dogs?" asked Louisa, looking over her shoulder. "Guard dogs?" repeated Rose worriedly. "I don't think anyone cares enough about this old junkyard to use guard anythings. All we've got to worry about is Clay and Bud." "They're enough," said Molly. Once they were safely inside the fence, Daniel again took the lead. "Okay, Louisa, you hang back a little with Rose. You know how unpredictable Clay and Bud can be." "Bud stinks," offered Rose. "Yeah, so you should have no problem staying back with your sister. And no disappearing unless Louisa tells you to, okay? We don't want to lose track of you in this junkyard. It wouldn't be good for the mission." Rose saluted. In an effort to stop her constant whining, they told the 5-year-old that they were all on a top-secret mission, which delighted Rose to no end. Now every little request was met by a salute. "You be careful, Daniel," said Louisa. "Clay's dangerous." "Trust me, I'll be fine." Daniel remembered the pounding that Eric had received from Clay in their fight. He swallowed hard. "Rowan, can you tell if they're here?" "Well, if Bud's here, there's one easy way to tell." Rowan closed his eyes and sniffed the air. He immediately made a sour face. Yeah, they're here," he said. "Ugh, one of them is smoking a cigar." When they found Bud and Clay, they were sitting in a stripped-out old van that was covered in graffiti. In several places, the phrase, "Bud rules," shared space with Clay's hideout. "Keep out." The doors were missing, and the windows were all broken out. A small camping lantern hung from the ceiling, and the 2 boys were sitting on either side of a makeshift poker table. Clay was chomping on it and coughing on a noxious cigar. "Your bet," he spat, as foul brown saliva trickled down his chin. "See me or fold." I'll see your bet and raise you." "You can't raise me." "Why not?" "Because that's the rules. How many times do I have to explain everything to you?" "Well, I might listen better if you didn't have you blowing that smelly thing in my face all night long," said Bud, waving away the oily smoke. "Smelly? Look who's talking, stink butt. This stogie is the only thing that's keeping me from puking all over this place." Clay coughed. He took a long drag on the cigar, but his face was turning green with the effort. "Yeah, well, those things will kill you." "I'll still live longer than you unless you shut up and bet." Watching the 2 of them bicker, Daniel wondered if he and his friends could stand there all night long and never be noticed. Those 2 might have been mean. They might have been tough. But they were about as observant as a couple of bricks. Unfortunately, time was wasting. "Hey, Clay. Hey, Bud," Daniel said. It sounded weird, even to his own ears, saying hi to those 2, but he had to start somewhere. The 2 bullies looked at Daniel, their mouths dropping open. Daniel saw Clay quickly scanning the faces of the gang behind him. Daniel knew who he was on the lookout for. "What the heck are you all doing here?" asked Bud. Clay, what the heck are they doing here? Shut up, bud, Clay answered. He laid down his playing cards and stepped out from the van, his eyes warily searching the yard around them. You're not welcome here, new kid. None of you are. It's no great thrill to be here, said Molly, holding her nose. The smell of Clay's cigar was quickly being overpowered by the acrid stench of bud stink. Daniel shot Molly a look before going on. We're not here for trouble, Clay. We're here to ask you for your help. My help? Daniel looked around suspiciously. Why? I don't have a lot of time to explain, but hey, wait a minute. Where's your little leader, your little bodyguard, Eric? Daniel took a breath. This was it. This was the tricky part. He's in trouble. That's why I came to you, because Eric's in trouble and we need your help to save him. Clay studied Daniel for a long moment. He was searching Daniel's face, looking for a hint that this was all some kind of joke, some kind of trap. When he spoke next, it was with a mean smile. You know what? I believe you. He stepped forward and planted himself directly in front of Daniel, breathing cigar smoke in his face. Daniel's eyes watered and he choked back a cough, but he held his ground. Clay leaned close. I also believed that you just made the biggest mistake of your life coming here. Daniel could hear Bud laughing a few feet away, and he could see Molly in his periphery taking a step forward. Molly waved her away. Daniel waved her away without taking his eyes off Clay. You might be right, Clay, but let me ask you one question before you beat the stuff out of me. When do you turn 13? Clay's smile disappeared immediately. That's none of your business, new kid. I bet it's not far off. You're big for your age, but you've got to be at least 12, right? What are you going to do when you turn 13? Who will push you around then? Why, I bet even Bud will be able to take you. Then it will be Bud's hideout. You'll just be his toady. Clay gave a snarl and shoved Daniel. It was more of a nudge, really, but nevertheless it sent Daniel skidding onto his back. He heard the commotion of his friends as his friends began to move between him and Clay. No! He shouted. Everyone stay back. Clay's not going to hurt me. Oh yeah? Spat Clay, but he did stop. Why shouldn't I pulp you all, right here and now? Daniel sat up and rubbed his chest. He imagined a hand-shaped bruise that would be there tomorrow. That is, if he survived tonight. Because, Clay Cudgens, said Daniel, if you help us rescue Eric, you'll be able to stay strong for the rest of your life. It doesn't have to end. Clay squinted at him while chewing on his soggy cigar. Daniel slowly pulled himself to his feet and brushed himself off, trying not to wince when he touched his chest. Clay took a look around at the others, at Louisa's and Rose's fearful expressions, Rowan's unreadable stare, and Molly's angry glare, then looked back at Daniel. Talk, said Clay. You've got 5 minutes. It's all I need, Daniel said, but first do me a favor and put out that stupid cigar.